You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Thursday. Happy Jupiter Day. And hello to all of the beauties in the comments. Corby is here. BB is here. Bailey is here. Hi, Rachel. Everybody's saying hi to each other. Makes me so happy. Start off our forecast, taking a look at the notable Libras celebrating their birthdays today. Kevin Durant is a Libra. Okay. Halsey, the queen herself. So many people love Halsey. I feel like she is a great representation of that masculine feminine duality that we talk about during Libra season, because she can come across as very masculine. She's been very upfront about her sexuality, but then I think her latest album, she's pregnant on the cover and she's very much in her feminine. So I love that she is a Libra and a great representation of both, right? Libra is all about duality, about both energies. Zachary Levi, Jerry Lee Lewis. Who else? Some notable faces I'm seeing here. And if you're a Libra, if someone you know is celebrating a birthday today, let us know. Give them a shout out in the chat so we can celebrate them too. Your birthday is Monday. Can't wait to celebrate you in just a few days. And so excited to have you back here. Miss your beautiful comments live every morning. Got notification. You got the job you wanted. Oh, yes. Right before your birthday. Things are going well for you. I love that. You guys are just bringing such beautiful energy in the chat today. So we're talking about Venus moving into Libra. A big transit. Venus has been in Virgo, in a sign that she's not exactly the most comfortable in, but Venus, the planet of love, money, and beauty, is moving back home to Libra today for the next month. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about what's going on with the Scorpio moon, and it's quite a bit today, the Scorpio moon. We had a very low-key day yesterday. The moon is making up for it today. So here's a check on the current energy. Of course, the sun is in Libra. The moon is in Scorpio, pulling away from that new moon energy that we just experienced. And by the end of the day, the moon will be in Sagittarius. But let's start with our main transit of the day. Hello, Amora, Grand Rising. Venus moving into Libra. So here's a look at the current chart. You can see Venus currently at 0 degrees in Libra over here. She officially moved into the sign of the scales right after midnight. So we're feeling that beautiful Libra energy. And with Venus at 0 degrees in Libra, we are probably craving beauty and balance and peace in our lives today. A 0 degree placement is a critical placement in astrology. We talk a lot about the anaretic degree, 29 degrees, but we don't quite talk about the 0 degree as much. And so Venus at 0 degrees in Libra gives us this eagerness to embrace that balance, that beauty, that duality. All right, so let's brush up on what it means with Venus in Libra. Venus being the planet of love, money, and beauty, as we mentioned, that feminine energy that is often associated with Venus. And Libra is ruled by Venus. So that's why we say she's returning home. Rachel says, need my Venus in Libra, putting out all that love and compassion into the world today. Yes. Yeah, and we can all take note from Venus in Libra. over the next month. Venus will be moving through Libra until October 23rd. So with Venus being the planet of relationships, aka love, and Libra being the sign of relationships, our relationships are really going to be in focus over the next month, and in a positive way, hopefully, because that Libra energy gives us more diplomacy, gives us the ability to bounce ideas off of other people, and to see other people's point of view. So we can be more cooperative, more fair in our interactions. And remember, when we say relationships, yes, there is an element of love and romance just in this transit in general. If you're looking to fall in love, Venus and Libra is a great time to do it. But it's not just about romance. It's about business partnerships. It's about friendships. It's about those one-on-one relationships. We find more diplomacy in those situations in our lives. And partnerships, partnering up with someone else, will make life seem more beautiful and more sweet in a way. So it's like we enjoy having other people along for the ride of our experience in life. Love comes more naturally with Venus in Libra. We value that balance and harmony in our surroundings as well. The Libras in your life, or people with major Libra placements, probably like to have beautiful surroundings because Venus is the planet of beauty. Libra likes to have that. It's kind of like luxury, but it's more just like the finer things in life that make life more beautiful. So I love this transit. Personally, I think it's such a welcome relief from Venus in Virgo. I'm a Virgo. I love Virgo energy, but Venus in Virgo definitely brought out more of that critical nature in relationships. It made us all a little bit more detail oriented and willing to serve in our relationships. But Venus in Libra is more about the give and take. So you might have found yourself being more self-sacrificing with Venus in Virgo. Now it's like, okay, how can I be receptive to love just as much as I'm giving it? And it's really a great time to find yourself in beautiful surroundings, in beautiful situations. Just lean into the beauty of the present moment. Something that really came up for me, at least, and something I've noticed just in general as a theme people are feeling, is presence. The new moon in Libra really brought out this idea of presence, being present in our life, being present in our surroundings. And I think Venus moving into Libra just a few short days after the new moon is going to show us the beauty that can be found in the present moment, in just being here, in taking a deep breath and feeling the air fill our lungs, just being in that beautiful present moment. Because we can't live in the future, we can't live in the past. The present is all we have, and when we can find beauty in this moment, even in difficult moments, there's beauty. There are lessons. And even if you're like on your knees in a rough time in your life, I get it. I've been there. But if you can find one beautiful thing to focus on, I promise it will make life just a little bit easier. So that's my little tidbit on Venus and Libra. Put my futuristic ways away for now. Just be in the present moment. Yeah, Ashe, I love that. And so it is. I love you guys are all feeling it. And one more thing I want to say about Venus and Libra is this. Venus is also the planet of money, right? So anytime we're talking about Venus energy, we have to talk about money. Now, Venus and Libra can bring balance. So you could balance your checkbooks in a way with Venus and Libra. I remember when we talked about Venus and Virgo, I was like, this is the time to look at the fine print of your accounts and like really do an analysis of your bank accounts. Venus and Libra is more about like balancing the checkbook. But Venus enjoys the finer things in life. Libra energy is the same. And so you might feel yourself wanting to splurge on that beautiful thing, right? So there is like a little bit of a warning that comes with this of sometimes when we're so in the present moment. Take this from someone who just was on a vacation when I was like fully immersed in the present moment and was just like buying all the things, like I need this thing to remember this moment by, so just be aware that we're more likely to buy beauty right now with Venus in Libra. We want to feel beautiful, and we're more willing to reach into our pocketbook and buy the thing that's going to make us feel more beautiful. Or if it's like a little bougie or a little luxurious, we might be more inclined to buy it right now. Okay. And that's not a bad thing, but just something to keep in mind if you're trying to save money at the moment. Venus in Libra might make it a little more difficult to do it. We just want life to feel beautiful, and we just want to buy all the fine things in life, right? Also, before I keep going, my audio should be clearer today. So if you were here yesterday, just drop me a chat or a comment to confirm the audio is clearer than yesterday. I would greatly appreciate it. So that's Venus in Libra. It's going to be beautiful. Let me know if you have any other thoughts, as we are all our own best astrologers, on what you think Venus in Libra will bring, or any insights that you are feeling as you tap into the energy of Venus in Libra. Okay, thank you, Rachel. Everything seems to be back to normal. I appreciate that. I love my field producers out there. Bailey says, my mom is a Scorpio. She's taking a test right now and has been struggling. Sending high hopes, though, as they're allowing her to take a retest. What do you have to say for her? Well, the moon is in Scorpio right now, right? And so the moon is likely crossing over her sun at some point today. So this could be kind of a new moon moment in her personal chart, right? Because a new moon is when the moon and the sun are together in the sky. So if the moon is crossing over her sun, she could have this new moon moment. And I would say that's a good sign for her, because a new moon is a time of rebirth, of renewal, of fresh starts. So I love that she's taking a retest with the moon in Scorpio on her sun. Now, the moon in Scorpio also today, as we'll get into in just a moment, is really allowing us to go deep into our own psyche, go deep within. And so I think it could help her retain information while testing, and kind of be able to reach down into her own depths and pull out the information she needs while she's testing. So I would say, Bailey, that it's a good omen for her with the moon in Scorpio today, since she is a Scorpio. Of course, I don't know her whole chart, but if she's a Scorpio sun, it's very likely the moon and sun will be together in her chart today. All right. Thank you, Amora. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on with the moon. That's our only major transit today. The rest of it is about the moon. Moon in Scorpio, and probably good for Bailey's mom, but for those of us who struggle with Scorpio energy, just hang in there. Today is a little bit intense. Everything is on point with how you describe Venus and Libra, really feeling that need to just stay present and stay hopeful everything will work out how it's supposed to work out. And I will say one more thing before we get into the moon. Being in the present moment is also about seeing the dark and light in the present moment, right? It's not about just being like, it's all going to work out and it's all rainbows and sunshine, even though it is all going to work out. I promise. It's all part of a greater plan, right? But sometimes being in the present moment is also witnessing, like, what am I feeling in this moment? What's going on with me in this moment? Having grace and compassion for yourself in difficult moments. And that's beauty in itself, being like, ooh, a year ago I would have been so much harder on myself. Right now I'm really proud of myself. That's finding beauty in the moment too. So when I say beauty and finding the beauty in the present moment, it's not just about being like, oh, look at that butterfly, look at that flower, look at how lovely the day is. Sometimes it's about finding the beauty within ourselves, the compassion that we've cultivated within ourselves, and our ability to have grace with other people even when we don't want to, right? So yes, Corby, the duality absolutely goes back to the balance that Libra season brings. Yes. Oh, good. Send her all the good vibes from all of us, all the good energy to Bailey's mom, that she's going to kill her test. She's going to find all of the information she needs within her to pass the test and move forward. I love it. But yeah, I love, of course, Rachel. I love that we're talking about the beauty of Venus in Libra and being in the present moment, and then also the duality of the Scorpio moon, right? The Scorpio moon is not surface level. It's not peaceful. It's deep. It's intense. It's profound in a lot of ways. So let's see what's going on with the Scorpio moon today. All right. So overnight, the moon opposed Uranus. This was at 1 a.m. Pacific time, 3 a.m. Eastern time. So most of us were probably sleeping. What's interesting that I've started to notice, at least for myself during overnight transits, is that if it's an abrupt transit like the moon opposing Uranus, so a transit that causes like change or disruption, which the moon opposing Uranus usually does, oftentimes I end up waking up in the middle of the night when these transits happen. And I've just started to piece that together. Like, maybe the transits are waking me up. I don't know. But you might have had a little bit of restless sleep overnight with the moon opposing Uranus, or even some wild dreams. That's a trend that I've noticed too. I've heard a lot of people talking about wild dreams. I know I had a really like roller coaster ride of a dream last night. Not even necessarily bad dreams, but just, Uranus is the planet of disruption. It's the planet of rebellion. So you might have been playing out that rebellious nature or that disruptive nature in your dreams. Or if you're like Amora, I got no sleep last night. Yeah, Uranus might have been keeping you up. Yeah, super restless last night too from Rachel. Crazy dreams for days now. The Scorpio moon too, remember, just on a general level, taps us into our deep subconscious, what is going on beneath the surface. And oftentimes it's not until we let our rational mind rest that we're able to understand what's going on beneath the surface. And so the Scorpio moon might have been digging up some things through our dreams. Yeah, the dreams, I definitely woke up. Wow, everybody is feeling it. Ayana too, I've been restless. My cat was on a sick one last night. Yeah, even the animals are feeling it. What's interesting is not only did the moon oppose Uranus, but it also, at just an hour later, 2 a.m. Pacific time, 6 a.m., right? 5 a.m. What's the time difference? 5 a.m., right? Eastern time is what I'm trying to say. The moon squared Saturn. So right after the moon opposes Uranus and creates this disruption, or almost like this jolt, this excitement in your dreams, maybe, it squares Saturn. And when the moon squares Saturn, doubts, fears, negativity can come up very easily. Saturn is the great malefic. It likes to remind us of all of our worries, all the things that can go wrong, because ultimately it's that father energy trying to protect us. But Saturn energy tends to be more negative. And so you might have found yourself worrying in the middle of the night, or worrying through your dreams, or even having some darkness come up, some fears, some doubts, some negativity. So just know if that was the case as well, if it wasn't just restlessness, if it felt a little bit more like worry or anxiety in a way, you can just thank Saturn for that and tell him to go away. That's my new thing with Saturn. I'm like, no, thank you, Saturn. Not dealing with you. Maybe that's me bypassing, but I think we can acknowledge, okay, thank you for showing me what I'm worried about or what could go wrong, but I don't have to fully buy into that, right? So that was overnight. Things get a little lighter throughout the day today. We woke up, at least here on the West Coast, or as the day got going for you on the East Coast, 9 a.m. Pacific time, the moon and Neptune locked into this harmonious aspect. So you can see that dark blue line there, the moon when it was at 23 degrees technically, forming a nice 120-degree angle to Neptune. And this is a balanced angle, a harmonious angle. Neptune being the planet of imagination, the planet of dreams, compassion, empathy. As the day got going today, and really the energy we're starting to feel right now is a little bit lighter, is a little bit dreamier. And this is a great morning or a great day, if you're feeling it right now, to lean into your creativity. Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that. No, thank you, Saturn. Neptune is kind of the opposite energy, though, and we're able to feel Neptune's energy more easily today because of this nice flowing angle. So leaning into the flow, leaning into creativity today. If you're feeling artistic, letting that imagination flow. That's going to be really helpful and probably easy to do today. So if you're feeling the creativity, if you're feeling even just like sentimentality in a way, Neptune is very sweet and it's like a loving energy. So if you're feeling that, lean into it. See where it takes you today. Especially the Scorpio moon can be, like we said, really intense, but Neptune lightens it up, and it's almost like we can pull things from this deep well of creativity today as the moon and Neptune harmonize. We love that. And then, let's see. The next transit we're feeling, actually right now, the moon is forming a sextile to Mercury retrograde. So a sextile is a supportive 60-degree angle. You can see right here that other dark blue line is this nice sextile to Mercury retrograde. Now, something that we haven't really touched on about Scorpio energy is this need to get to the bottom of things. That's why Scorpio energy can be so intense. It's why it taps us into our psyche, because we want to get to the truth. We want to research. We want to go deeper under the Scorpio moon. And with Mercury retrograde in Virgo, this is a very analytical energy. And today is a really powerful day, if you ask me, for some deep reflection. So maybe you're feeling that Neptune energy and you're in this artistic creative mode. Sometimes when we're there, we can also pull things up from our subconscious without even realizing it. But there could be an element of kind of psychoanalyzing yourself with the moon forming this supportive angle to Mercury retrograde. You might even feel like researching something or going back with the retrograde energy, going back and reviewing something, getting to the bottom of it this time, really getting intimate with yourself, uncovering deep truths about yourself. And maybe if you're in a place to be vulnerable and intimate with other people, uncovering deep truths about your relationship or about them too. Anything that's been kind of lurking or hiding in the shadows that you haven't wanted to pay attention to can be processed in your rational mind with the Scorpio moon connecting with Mercury retrograde. And it just feels like this could be like something clicking into place, or like, oh, I get it now. I had to keep going back to that thing, but now that I went back to it this final time in Mercury retrograde, I get it now. So there could be some deep analysis that some of us are going through today. And it doesn't have to be like scary. I know the Scorpio moon can be like, oh gosh, what's hiding in there? What do we need to review? But I think this could be a nice way of looking at processing whatever's going on in your life and uncovering what's true about it, what maybe you've been shying away from. So that's happening as we speak. And the final connection the Scorpio moon makes today is another supportive angle at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time to Pluto. So that's what that will look like once the day moves on a little bit. Pluto at 26 degrees and the moon in Scorpio will be at 26 degrees as well. You remember, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. So this connection to Pluto just amps up the intensity of the Scorpio moon. It's kind of like you're in research mode, you're in analytical mode. This influence from Pluto takes things to a deeper level, takes us even farther down the rabbit hole or farther within ourselves. So it could feel intense by this afternoon. Your emotions, remember, when we're talking about the Scorpio moon, it's all about these deep emotions. So if deep emotions are surfacing today, use that analysis that we've been talking about to ask, what are you showing me? Why is this coming up again? What did I miss the last time I felt this emotion? And Pluto can be also a scary energy because it's shadowy, it's dark, it's that death and rebirth energy, but sometimes we're revisiting the same thing over and over again until we learn the lesson. So today's a day where we could really learn the lesson, or at least understand why we keep revisiting this same emotion that keeps coming up. And something else I want to point out before we move on to the Sagittarius moon is the fact that every connection the Scorpio moon makes today is to a retrograde planet. So reflection today feels huge. And that's just kind of a general sense. The Scorpio moon wants us to get real, get to the bottom of things, and all these connections to retrograde planets are like kind of having us review and research, get deeper into this overall review process we've been going through during retrograde season. So that just feels like something really powerful and notable, that today is a day to reflect and get real with yourself. I have transiting Pluto squaring my natal Uranus for a long time. Yeah, those are two very slow moving planets. So big changes, big transformations probably happening in your life, but not abruptly, probably over a long period of time that you're experiencing transformation. Yeah, this is definitely a powerful Scorpio moon because of all the connections it's making. And again, coming back to that duality of, you'll probably see if you follow a lot of astrologers, Venus in Libra, la la la, it's so beautiful, it's relationships, it's lovely. And yes, it is. And there is so much beauty to be found in this transit. But getting through this Scorpio moon today is a little bit of a different energy. So the moon goes void from about 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time. So a great invitation after all the review, all of the deep diving we're doing today, to just kind of take a break from that intense analysis, give yourself an evening to relax, kick up your feet. Remember, under a void moon, nothing significant will come from anything started. So maybe tie up some loose ends or even reflect on what's come up for you, but not necessarily the time to put anything into motion or do anything with whatever analysis that you've been having today. The moon moves into Sagittarius at 9 p.m. Pacific time, so midnight for our East Coasters, and now trying to be cognizant of people living in other time zones. It would be tomorrow morning for people maybe on the other side of the Atlantic. This is a waxing crescent moon still in Sagittarius, and the waxing crescent moon, just a reminder, is a time to plan and prepare, to gather information, to get ready to take action. So really interesting that we've been talking so much about research and analysis and deep dives when we're in this planning and preparing mode. We probably set beautiful intentions under the new moon in Libra, and we're feeling that beautiful balanced energy. And it's really interesting that, the way the zodiac is situated, I feel, and a lot of astrologers feel, like the energy builds from each sign. It's kind of tacked on. That's why Pisces is said to carry all the energy of the signs before. So it's like it's in this kind of building block format, if you will. Libra is nice and balanced, and then Scorpio energy, we go deep, right? It's like, whoa, okay. And then Sagittarius energy feels like it kind of pulls us back out of the depths and shows us the light again. And we're invited to explore and expand because now we know the truth and we have faith. It's all going to work out. We've already seen the darkness, and now we can know that we have the capability to get through the darkness, and we can focus on our ability to expand and adventure. So over the next few days, you'll likely be more optimistic emotionally. Maybe you're more open to growth opportunities now that you've gotten to the bottom of things, to the truth of the matter. Sagittarius energy is very generous as well. So the next few days, if you're feeling good, it's really a beautiful time to share those good vibes with other people, leaning into new learning opportunities, but also being willing to share what you've learned, maybe from whatever you go through today. The Sagittarius moon over the next couple of days might make you feel more social and willing to kind of share what's been on your heart. Like, these are the lessons I've been learning, and this might help you too, or just connect with people over philosophical conversations. Sagittarius energy is very philosophical, but heading into the weekend will likely feel a lot more social and generous. Now, the Sagittarius moon does make one connection overnight, 11 p.m. Pacific time, so that would be 2 a.m. Eastern time. The moon forms a sextile to freshly balanced Venus in Libra. So with the moon forming a sextile to Venus, let me jump ahead here so you can see what that looks like. Let's see. 12 hours from now, here is what's going on. 1 degree Sagittarius moon and that 1 degree Venus in Libra. They form this nice sextile to one another, just making it easier to lean into love, lean into that Venus energy. We're feeling more balanced. We're feeling more beautiful. And I just realized, you can come say hi. I just realized I forgot to close the door. So everybody gets a hello from my love. And the dogs are in here. They just came back from the park. Anyway, that's my real life. So that's how we end the day, on this nice loving note with the Sagittarius moon forming a sextile to Venus in Libra, ending on a nice, sweet note. And that's it for today's transits. They say hi back. So yeah, it's a bit of an intense start to Venus in Libra. You guys are so cute. I have to show them all your comments. Intense start to the Venus in Libra transit, but we'll probably be feeling more of that balanced, loving energy by the end of the day into tomorrow with that optimistic, expansive Sagittarius moon. So let's wrap up today's forecast with today's affirmation. I know myself deeply. I know myself deeply. This is, of course, inspired by the Scorpio moon because you really have to know yourself to truly love yourself. And yes, we've been talking so much about love with Venus and Libra, but truly, you can't fully love someone else or yourself until you know who they are at their core. And today's Scorpio moon with all these connections is really going to show us who we are at our core, what's truly important to us, and what the truth of the matter really is. Oh, I'm so happy to see you here, Amora, and I'm so excited to see you next week at Goddess Night Out. It's been a while. Love your energy and love having you in the comments. All right, we're going to finish up with our card pull from the Rose Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. Is this not the most Venus and Libra deck of cards you've ever seen, right? Like if Venus and Libra was a deck, it would be this deck. So y'all know the drill. As I'm shuffling up and attuning to the deck, let me know if you have any other last minute thoughts about today's energy, any intentions you want to share with the group, any other questions you have about what's going on with you in your chart. I'm here to chat for a couple minutes. And as I'm shuffling up, just really leaning into the beauty of this present moment too. Yes, I'm so excited to have you again. It's been a while since I've gotten to experience one of your sound healings. And you know, I love your special kind of magic that you bring. So it's going to be awesome. I'm hearing, I don't know if you can hear in the background, Julian's putting in a to-go order for our lunch. I'm like, let's be in the beauty of the present moment. And that's beautiful. Let me tell you, I'm really excited for the beautiful sandwich I'm about to eat for lunch. Sometimes the beauty in the present moment doesn't have to be this like profound spiritual thing either. It can just be like, wow, look at how beautiful the sandwich is that I'm about to eat. I'm here for clarity. Beautiful, beautiful intention. Thank you. All right. Let's go ahead. If you're joining me live or if you're finding this video later, let's just take a moment to have a nice deep breath together. Find some beauty within ourselves. Here we go. Breathe in and hold. Release. What do we need to know? Beautiful. Trust the seasons. Embracing change, cycles of life, transition, growth. That's the card we pulled from the Rose Oracle, and we'll see what the guidebook has to say. I love that we pulled this card, Embracing Change, Cycles of Life, Trust the Seasons, because it's fall. You know, we're like literally seeing a changing of the seasons right now. It's really starting to feel like the seasons are changing. Hold on, let me get my brain to cooperate. 1 second. Okay, here we go. But trust the seasons, trusting in the change of the seasons. I have this deck. This is the third time you're seeing this card. Ooh, this is the first time I'm seeing it. So it feels like this card is really calling you out, not in a bad way, in a beautiful way, Rachel. Yeah, so trust the seasons. What's the message this card has for all of us today? Our disconnection from the earth and her seasons leads us to believe that we should be in full bloom all year round, that we should grow without leaving space to cut back. When we focus on the never-ending bloom, we forget the importance of all of life's phases. The rose, like all of nature, teaches us this every day. She's forever showing us how to embrace the ever-changing seasons in an ever-changing world. We're not meant to stay the same. Relationships aren't meant to stay the same. Life isn't meant to stay the same. Nothing on this planet is meant to stay the same. The seasons teach us that. Night and day teach us that. Time and age teach us that. Birth and death teach us that. We may return to a place, a person, but things won't be exactly as they were. For everything and everyone is forever changing. Nothing is static. The more we try to control things and keep them the same, the further away from the flow of life and ourselves we get. Change can be scary, for it means surrendering to the unknown, of being in the in-between, to being not who you were and not quite who you'll become. It requires a trust in the transformation, in the death in order for the rebirth to occur, and a deep reverence for all the seasons of our life. The more we resist change, the further away we are from who we're becoming. When we embrace change, we embrace life and nature and are forever becoming. How can you embrace the changing seasons in your life? Wow. So freaking beautiful. And as I was reading that, I love how it talks about death and rebirth, because as much as we've been talking about the Scorpio moon today, Scorpio is the sign of death and rebirth. And we've talked about the intensity, the depth, going within, and this review aspect with the Scorpio moon making all these connections to retrograde planets. But I love how this says, we may return to a place, a person, but things won't be exactly as they were, for everything and everyone is forever changing. And this is a really beautiful reminder during retrograde season. Sometimes it's like, this again? Why are we coming up to this again? But remember, things are constantly evolving. And sometimes the universe keeps us coming back to the same emotion, the same situation, the same even conflict in a way, so we can see how we're evolving in the midst of that situation. And so remember, if things are tough or if things aren't going exactly as you think they should, we're not meant to stay the same. We're never going back. There's only moving forward from here. So finding beauty in the present moment and knowing that if you're in the midst of change, that's beautiful too. Everyone's in a different part of their own cycle all the time, right? So some people may be in more of a rebirth phase, others may be in more of a death phase, a shedding, but there's beauty in every phase of life. And so as much as we've talked about presence, being in the present moment, finding the beauty in whatever phase you're in, and trusting that the season you're in is the season you're meant to be in, and that if things are hard now, they will change and get easier. And if things are amazing and so beautiful now, to soak that in, because it won't always be this way, right? But there's growth in all the phases. Trust the seasons. I love this card. Yeah, it's calling you out, not gonna lie. You know what's so wild, Rachel, and everyone watching? One of the live streams I did while I was in Italy, I pulled this card that said honor the process, and it was a picture of a woman with butterfly wings. And butterfly was like my sign the whole time I was in Italy. I was seeing butterflies everywhere like crazy. I was on the verge of getting a butterfly tattoo at one point. Like, I was in butterfly mode, and butterflies have been a sign for me for a few months now, but it was seriously like everywhere. It didn't matter where we went, little white butterflies everywhere. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. Honor the process. It's a butterfly. Okay, I see you, universe. But I was very much in Italy mode, just kind of in the present moment, being overwhelmed by all the amazing things, right? And on our last night on the trip, we had a little ceremony for the Libra new moon and pulled cards. And I pulled cards a little bit differently than I normally do. Whenever I'm like really taking the time in more of a ceremonial aspect, I can't really do that here on the stream, but I like to pan out all the cards in a row and like hover my hand over them and really feel out the energy. And so I felt my hand get warm over a certain part of the cards. I promise I'll get to the end of this story. So I pulled from there, right? And it was the same card. I had only pulled from that deck twice the entire trip, once on the live stream and once on the last night. And it was the same exact card. Honor the process, the butterfly wings. So I share all of that to say to you, Rachel, or to anyone who's experienced this phenomenon, if you keep getting a card over and over again, it's really a confirmation in my eyes that this message is meant for you, that this is a really powerful message for you in your life right now. And that doesn't, I know we're joking about it calling you out, but it's, I think, also kind of affirming that this is what you need to do right now. Trust the seasons, trust the change you're going through. There will be a lesson learned. There is beauty on the other side, even in the midst of darkness. There will be light again. And sometimes we learn the most through the darkness. We learn our capacity to walk through the darkness because the universe tests us, right? By putting us in these situations to show us really how strongly we are. So, winter comes every year to show us how resilient we can be when the snow starts to thaw and make us more appreciative of summer and spring. Yes, it's such a fun way to pull cards. I don't have the capability to do that here, but I highly recommend it if you're on your own and you're like really wanting to attune to the energy, is to feel it in your hand. Your hands are portals. So like I literally spread them all out in a line and just kind of hover, and you can usually feel when a card wants you to pull it. It's been happening with a couple of decks. Ooh, the universe is speaking strongly to you. Really learning to just fully trust in myself and spirit, God. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. And I think sometimes also the universe, whoever's in charge of this reality, right, keeps giving us the same card to affirm to us that our intuition is on point, right? Like, no, you were right. Like, this card was meant for you, So sometimes I see it that way too. Beautiful. Beautiful. This was so lovely. Thank you all for joining me this morning, for having grace with me as I get back into my normal flow. I'm really just still in a haze of being on vacation and trying to give myself lots of time to get back into things. I like to be fully present with you guys and show up as my best self. So sometimes that means taking a little longer, but I appreciate you all. I have so much love for each and every one of you who continues to show up for yourself, to show up for each other, to say hello to each other in the chat. Like, you guys, you're all such beautiful souls, and I'm grateful that we've connected here. So I will be back tomorrow with another episode of Transits Today to walk us through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the weekend ahead. And spoiler alert, Mercury retrograde is ending on Sunday, so we'll be talking about that. Hallelujah. Thank goodness. Yes, there's still a shadow period, but at least we have something to celebrate this weekend. And yes, I am so grateful that you brought this up. If we could all just take a moment before we end our live stream today to send some loving vibes to the people in Florida. We've been watching here on the West Coast. It's truly unfathomable what's happening to people on the East Coast, specifically in Florida and the southern states. And a lot of lives have been lost. It's really, really tragic and a huge wake-up call on a lot of levels. And so if we can all just take a moment and send some loving energy. We're so privileged to have internet right now, to have power right now, to have the resources we have right now. So if we can just send a little bit of our light to the people experiencing struggle, experiencing literal darkness in Florida right now. Thank you, Rachel, for bringing that up. All right. On that note, I will see you all tomorrow. Love seeing you here. Love our little community, Corby. And until I see you next, I hope you have a beautiful Thursday, a beautiful Jupiter day. And as always, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.